Hey, it's been a hot minute since I've done one of these tier list videos, so I'm gonna do one on the box set that I just reviewed. I recommend watching those videos first. This is supposed to be a bonus at the end of them. Leftmost is higher quality, rightmost is lower quality. So this category is self-explanatory. It's for good movies, movies that I think are genuinely, like, you should watch them. The decent category, this is for movies that I think they're good, but, they aren't as good as they could be, but I enjoyed watching them anyways. Mediocre is also self-explanatory. It's for movies that I could go either way on. They didn't blow me away. If you're rating them numerically, I would give them like a 5 out of 10. These last two are self-explanatory as well. Bad is for movies that I didn't enjoy watching and I thought were just, generally bad. And the worst is just a worse version of bad, it's a movie that is almost unwatchable. But let's get started. Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. This is a genuinely good little movie. It's over 100 years old. It's still pretty good. It's got a deliberately slow pacing that I think works. The acting is very expressive. It's a visually interesting film with all of the crazy architecture. It's generally pretty good. Revenge of Dr. X. Am I already putting something in the worst? Yeah, the Revenge of Dr. X was just kind of miserable. It was paced very sluggishly. Most infamously, there was the scene where they just had the guy drive down the mountain, then he got into a car, then he got into another car, and we saw all of it. That says everything about how badly this thing is paced. Son of Ingagi. I would put this in mediocre. It is fine. The fact that it has an all-black cast for the time it was made is very, very interesting. I will not knock it for that. But the movie itself could have been executed a little better. There was no music, and it wasn't for artistic reasons. I guess they just couldn't afford it. And it's shot very flatly. Panic. This is a bad movie. It's always interesting when a movie from the 80s is on these box sets because you usually don't expect one from that era. It's a weirdo Italian movie with bad dubbing. The makeup on the monster is okay. It's just lethargic. It's a lethargic movie. I could barely finish it. Embryo. This is another kind of mediocre movie. I really liked the concept of it. I think it was a very intriguing science fiction concept. But in execution, it just didn't grab me. It's too long for what it is. Man in the Attic is a decent one. Jack Palance is pretty good in it. If there's anything I could knock against the movie, it's that it's way too obvious with its twist at the end. And I mean, like, they telegraph it so fucking hard, so if you were somehow surprised by the fact that, yes, he is Jack the Ripper, then have you been watching the same movie as me? I Eat Your Skin, Actually, no, yes, it is worse than Panic. The zombies were just the worst. The main character was unlikable. It was just a bad time. Counterblast. I'd put this between Son of Ingagi and Embryo. It exhibited some decent filmmaking, but it didn't really deserve the hour 30 length. I was kind of bored. The Ape Man. This is, it was kind of bad. I'd say it's on the higher end of bad. Bela Lugosi's always fun, but I felt like they didn't explore his transformation as much as they could have. The ending is what makes this movie. Invasion of the Bee-Girls. This is also pretty bad. I don't even know if I'm going to include it in the final version of Part 3. I might make it a Patreon exclusive, because just the subject matter of it is maybe a little too risque for YouTube. I don't know. You'll find out by the time this video goes public. Lady Frankenstein. It's on the lower end of... It's not even good, but like... It was watchable. I think it's a very interesting movie. It has this strange collision of sexual content and horror, and it's at the very least interesting. Also, the monster in it was pretty bad. Crimson, The Color of Blood. This is... I guess it was on the upper echelon of bad. I don't really remember much of it. There were some gangsters, and there was a guy who had crap in his brain, so they took it out and they put another brain in him, and he started acting like someone else. It was dumb. It was dumb. You know, while I'm at it, I'll put I Eat Your Skin below Panic because I enjoyed it less. Torture Ship. I would put this above Son of Ingagi, I guess. It's not as bad as the cut version would have you believe, but I didn't really care for it. It was kind of dumb. I'm sure you subscribe for reviews like that. The Head. This was decent. It was hokey as shit, but I enjoyed it. It was mainly unfocused. I didn't really care for the subplot about the lady who got her head swapped onto another body. I wanted to see more of the head in the head, but we didn't get much of the head. The Lucifer Complex, so this one was pretty bad. The movie that's within the framing device is not very good, but the framing device is just so awful. I could not stand it. It was fucking miserable. It's such a out there premise too, you know, cloning the demonetization police. You know, I can't really say that because I want to say monetized. It's out there and weird, and it could have been funny, but it wasn't. It was just boring. Maneater of Hydra, just kind of mediocre. The ending was cool, I guess. Seeing a sober Cameron Mitchell was interesting. I didn't really care for it. Death Warmed Up. This one was good schlock. Lots of blood, lots of violence, lots of swearing. I love how everyone has New Zealand accents. I think it's very cute. It was a good time. I enjoyed it. The story is kind of dog shit, but, you know, I enjoyed it. Teenage Zombies. This is the worst. This is the worst one that I've looked at so far. It's just like 90% people walking to and from destinations, or driving, or boating. Nothing fucking happens in this movie. The Devil Bat is a movie that's very hard to dislike. I mean, it's barely over an hour long. It's got Bela Lugosi. It's got corny dialogue. Just it's a lot of fun. I enjoy the shitty bat too. Frankenstein 80. This one, it's not a good movie, but I did enjoy it weirdly enough, despite the creepy perverted bits. This is also an interesting one. It's undoubtedly trashy. It's not for everyone, but I did enjoy it. Don't Look in the Basement. This is genuinely pretty fun. It's pretty good, even. I'd put it on the highest echelon of decent. It's claustrophobic, it's greasy, it's sweaty. It was good. Metamorphosis. This was just kind of a schlocky version of The Fly. I'd put it on the higher echelon of mediocre because there is some fun to be had with the ending, but it was mostly just kind of whatever. House of the Living Dead. This is on, I guess it's on the lower end of mediocre. It wasn't awful, but there just wasn't much to it. The fact that there wasn't even a zombie or the undead in it, I have no feelings for it. Drums of Jeopardy. I can barely tell you what happened in this one, so I'm just gonna move on. There was a guy in it named Dr. Boris Karloff. That was sure a thing. Frozen Alive. I guess this is on the higher echelon of bad because, like, it's functional, but it's just so fucking boring. Not even like a science fiction movie either. I mean, it's got elements of science fiction, but it's a dumb melodrama thing that somehow got on this box set. Jesse James Meets Frankenstein's Daughter. This is on the lower echelon of bad because ugly pastiche of two genres at the same time. Neither are executed very well. It's a bad Western, it's a bad science fiction horror movie. The Frankenstein monster in it sucks. It's stupid. Shadow of Chinatown. I honestly can't muster up much of an opinion on it. Again, it had fun stunts, I guess. Bela Lugosi was in it. I put it at the lower end because there's like an undercurrent of racism to the whole thing. I didn't like it. Phantom Creeps, I'd put it on the lower end of decent. It just zooms through 4 hours of material, and it's fun, but it's not terribly engaging. It's alright. The Manster, I actually enjoyed this, for whatever reason. The main character sucks, but the makeup and the special effect of the monster is decent for its time. It's got a lot of funny moments and shitty dialogue. It's alright. Horror Express, this was my favorite of the collection. It's this wacky mix of science fiction and horror. The monster is somewhat sympathetic. Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing and Telly Savalas, it's got a lineup of great actors, and they're doing their best in it. And yeah, maybe it's a bit hokey, but I actually really enjoy it. But yeah, that's the list. That's what I've got. This isn't a terrible collection of movies. Even the bad ones have something to offer, I think. Which is more than I can say for the science fiction ones, which were mostly just boring. But yeah, that's what I have to say about it. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, I'm going to put Lucifer Complex in the worst. I hated that movie so much. Have a good, thanks for watching. Next video is going to be about Ultraman, I swear. And now a shout out to my top patrons who helped make videos like this one and more impressive videos possible. JCS, Mulan Nguyen, Ultraman Taro vs. Leo, Heiam Mooney, Krazak53, Koman, Queer Kaiju, Radiant GV, Chronicler Waba, Alcoholic Alligators, Ryan Santa Cruz, Avok Robot, The Antagonist, Richard Ciavardon, Ziggy Zigra, It's God Z, Big Odilo, An Actual Dimetrodon, CMG, Red Comet Harry, and Marpzilla. Thank you very much. I'll start working on another bigger video.